Here we are. Here we are, bright eyes. And every single time I turn around, here I am. We're up in here. Alrighty, guys, we're live. Live up in the flesh. Let's go. Everything should be working just right. Let me go ahead and reload the Chizat. The chat should just reload just fine. Is it up on me? No. Let's see chat right here. Let's come over here and let's reload that. It should have chat. Does it have chat over here? Oh, there's some chat coming up. Okay. What's up, everybody? How's it going? What's good? What's good? What's good? We up in here. We chilling. We chilling. We chilling. We big chilling. Hello, hello, hello. Bro, I was awake so late last night, bro. Me and the real Bays and Kevin is a human, bro. We were up. I was up till like, yep, already back on stream, bro. Already back at it, dude. I didn't get to bed till like 4 a.m, bro. Sorry, my phone's covering my camera. It was an eventful night. I loved it. What's up, Queen Trips in the house? Queen Trips in the house. Katie Cleo, what's up? Who's up over here on Facebook? I see you guys. I see you guys. I see you. All righty. Let me just share these things where they all need to be shared, and we're going to get all right back up in there. Weird. It wouldn't let me share this. That's weird. That's sussy baka. That's sussy baka. How are y'all doing today on this lovely Wednesday? It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Queen Trips in the house. What's up, girl? All right. Dang, we got 10 people up over here on Facebook. What's up? What's up? What's up? We don't got nobody up here on YouTube yet, but it's all right. People will show up. Chase Porter, what's good, bro? What's goody? What's goody in the hoodie? For some reason, I'm not freaking. Just a second. Let me fix this stuff up, dude. Let me fix this stuff up, dude. Let me just fix the chat part, dude, because for some reason, people just ain't seeing the chat, bro. Can you see the chat now? Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. We're going to put you up there. We're going to put you up there. Happy Wednesday. What's up, Brandy Smith? I see you. Brandy. Oh, you guys want to see him? Let me just go here real fast. Let me just show you, bro. Let me just show you, bro. Before we really get in anywhere, just want to give everybody a heads up like this. Tripoverdrip.shop, because I want to show you the finished product. One of the finished products. What you know about that, bro? What you know about rolling down in the deep? That shit is cold, bro. Tripoverdrip.shop, bro. Shit is clean. There's only 5 of them. There's only a few left. Tripoverdrip.shop. Better go get one. What's up, Great Britain's in the house? What's up, Great Britain's in the house? Great Britain's in the Great Britain's in the Great Britain's in the Great Britain's in the house. Hell yeah, let me show you better. It looks way cleaner now, bro. Look at that. Sick. Tripoverdrip.shop. I just dropped all the link in all the chats. Signed tie-dye shirts. There's only a limited amount, so you better try your best to get over there and get them before they're gone. Tripoverdrip.shop. Let's get into this. You guys ready to get it right into today? Welcome back to part 3 of quantum spirituality. We've been going down so many different rabbit holes. I feel that it's necessary for everybody to get up in here and for us to just retouch on some spiritual aspects that I think every human should embody. I think that at any time we could just give out spiritual information, and if it doesn't apply, let it fly. But if it does apply, oh boy, it can be perspective changing. If you notice, this last week has been called quantum spirituality because the way that I find myself easiest to understand and grasp these very simple but complex spiritual concepts, for me specifically, it allows me to familiarize these ideas with science and with quantum physics, because I think personally, I think quantum physics proves that spirituality is real, not religion, not any single sort of unified belief structure, not a god. Spirituality, that what I'm trying to get at is the spirit inside of you is real. Can we get an amen? Can I get a motherfucking amen? But let's get right into today's mindful message. Today's mindful message, it's gonna be a doozy. And then after that, if this is your first time here on the stream, we then go on to X. We watch some clips. We're going to watch another spiritual clip after the X clips, and then at the very end, you know what I'm saying, we'll put on our little bunny ears and we're gonna go ahead and go on down a rabbit hole. All right, that old rabbit holes. This didn't even share, bro. But that's for the end. I hope to see you there. All right. You guys ready to get into this? What's up, Marie Moon's in the house. Rachel Jones, thank you so much. Oh, before we begin, I don't necessarily want to mess everything up for myself, because I do have, to be honest, 13 people up in here on Facebook. I'm telling you right now, you guys probably will have a better watching experience if you're going to plan on being in the live stream for longer than a little while. You should just, let me unpin this. Let me take this link. You should just click the pinned link in the chat on Facebook. It's going to take you to the same live stream, but over on YouTube, where you can, instead of watching it like this, you can watch the stream like this. And I think the experience is better, but we'll get right into that. Like I said, click the link that's pinned to the top of the chat. It'll take you to my YouTube. If you do go to YouTube from Facebook, please just put a green, a red, and a yellow heart inside the chat on YouTube so I know that you came over from Facebook. Anna Ray's in the house. What's up? What's up? Cheers. But what if the most liberating truth that you can live from today is this? You are not a separate self trying to reach something higher. You are a localized expression of the same infinite field that creates and sustains everything that you experience. And if that lands anywhere inside of your chest, you can just comment the words, I am one. So you can mark the moment that you stopped relating to divinity as something out there and started recognizing it actually as your own identity. Over the past 2 days, we started to build a foundation. Day 1, we went over that you're not just matter, you're consciousness, energy, and intention, and your awareness and intention already shape how you experience reality. Day 2, we went over the fact that the kingdom within is the quantum field. Coherence, resonance, and your belief determine how that field expresses itself through your day. Now, today, we take the next step, the one that is literally going to change everything. Your identity is not separate from source. You are an individual expression of that same field that Yeshua or other spiritual avatars pointed to when they said, I and the source are one. And that changes how you relate to fear, time, and even your problems. Because, well, let's just start with this. Yeshua, or Jesus, he said, I and the Father are one. Now, if you strip away the religious packaging for a moment, and what he was actually pointing to is the state of awareness where there is no real separation between the individual expression and the underlying field of existence. Quantum physics describes something eerily similar. All particles arise from one invisible unified field. Every form is a local expression of that same underlying reality. Entanglement shows that at the deepest level, everything is connected beyond time and space. So in other words, there is an ocean, like the source, field, pure consciousness. And then there are waves. You, me, every living being. But the waves, they look separate. But it is never actually separate from the ocean. It is the ocean. It's just moving in a particular form. So when the spiritual avatars say, I and the source are one, they are declaring a non-dual identity, not I am God in a egocentric, inflated sense. They're saying my true self is not separate from the intelligence, the love, and the creativity that animates all things. Quantum spirituality says the exact same thing. You are not a disconnected fragment floating in a hostile universe. You are a conscious focal point of the field, an individual expression of source with the ability to perceive, choose, and co-create from within that oneness. And why does that matter for today? Because almost all of your fear, anxiety, and sense of powerlessness comes from living as if you are separate from that deeper intelligence of life, separate from other people, separate from the ground of being that holds the universe together. When you live from that separation, it's almost inevitable that you will start to feel small in a big random universe. You will start to feel responsible for everything but supported by nothing. You might also feel like you have to force outcomes because you're separate from anything, so you're just on your own. And when you live from oneness, even in every single hard moment, you will feel held by something larger than your personality. You will feel guided even when you don't even see the full picture. You will feel like you are participating in a story that is bigger than your immediate fears. So here's the first practical takeaway. Today, every time fear spikes, I'm going to ask myself, if I am truly one with Source, what does that say about this situation? Not to deny the problem, but to stop letting the problem define my identity. You might hear things like this: you're not alone in this. This is not evidence of abandonment, it's part of your growth. You're being held even when it doesn't feel like it. And that's you shifting from separate self-identity to expression of Source identity. Now, number 2, most fear is built on hidden assumption. I am separate. If something goes wrong, I'm on my own. But if your true identity is one with Source, then fear has to be reinterpreted. Quantum spirituality says that fear is a contraction in the field, a belief in separation and limitation, whereas love or gratitude is an expansion in the field, a recognition of connection and infinite support. Now we go back to Jesus or Yeshua, and his entire ministry was an invitation out of that fear-based identity. He repeated, "Do not be afraid. Peace I leave with you. Peace I give to you. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I will overcome the world." He wasn't promising a life without challenges. He was revealing an identity that cannot ultimately be destroyed by those challenges. Now, from a quantum perspective, when your identity identifies as separate, like separate ego, you collapse reality into fear-based outcomes, scarcity, conflict, or isolation. But when your identity is one with Source, when you open the field to higher possibilities or guidance or synchronicities or unexpected support. Now, the second spiritual takeaway is that when fear shows up today, don't just try to think positive. Instead, you could ask yourself, what belief of separation is underneath this fear? What if I am truly one with Source? What higher truth can I choose instead? For example, fear says, if I fail, I'm done. Higher truth says, I am not my outcomes. I am a soul learning through experiences, and my worth is not defined by this moment. Fear could say, if they leave, I'll be alone. But your higher truth can say, I am actually never truly alone. I am held by love that does not depend on anyone, any person, or any circumstance. Fear could say, if this goes wrong, I won't feel safe. Your higher truth could say, my ultimate safety is not an external condition. It is my identity as expression of source, which cannot be canceled by any event. You're not denying reality. You're refusing to let fear define your reality. That's living from oneness and not just talking about it. Now, another huge shift when you realize that you are one with source is how you relate to time and your problems. In a separate self-identity, time feels like a pressure cooker. Problems feel like threats to your survival. The future feels like something you have to control or it will all go wrong. But when your identity is one with source, time becomes a classroom, not a prison. Problems become opportunities for alignment, not proof of abandonment. Your future field of possibilities you partner with is not a nightmare you have to prevent. Quantum physics says all possibilities exist in the field right now as probabilities. Time, as we experience, is a way that consciousness moves through those probabilities. Now, non-dual teachings say the eternal is not later. It's the ground of this moment. Awakening is not about escaping time. It's about recognizing the timeless awareness in which time even appears. And Yeshua lived by this. He wasn't controlled by the timeline of others that they tried to impose on him. He responded to each moment with alignment from source, not from panic about the future. Now, here's your third practical takeaway. Today, when you feel crushed by time or overwhelmed by a problem, you could just simply pause and ask yourself, if I am one with source, what is required of me in this moment? What would trust look like right now, not 5 years from now? And then do that. The next right step, not the entire plan. This is how you stop living in catastrophic futures that don't even exist yet. This is how you start living in the only place where source actually will meet you, and that's in the present moment. You don't need to solve your whole entire life today. You just need to be fully present with the one step in front of you, from the awareness that you are not separate from the intelligence that creates this entire universe. So what does this look like in real life? I've been saying a whole bunch of words and a whole bunch of ideas, but what does this actually mean? Living as an expression of source means that you still have human experiences, stress, sadness, joy, confusion, but you no longer identify only as the human story. Underneath the story, you recognize, I am awareness. I am energy. I am one with the field that creates worlds. That will literally change how you move through your day. In conflict, you don't just have to react as the ego. You remember that I am more than this moment and I can choose a higher response. In uncertainty, you don't just panic. You remember, I'm not alone. I'm guided, even when I can't see the truth. In success or even failure, you don't just inflate or collapse. You remember, my worth is not defined by this. I have a soul and I'm just having a human experience. Now, this is not a theory, at least what I believe. This is how you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being a conscious participant in the field. So here's your fourth and last practical takeaway. 3 times today, you can just stop and declare silently. You can stop and declare silently, I am not separate. I'm one with source. I am not a victim of my day. I'm an expression of the field. In this moment, I choose alignment over fear. And then, right when you say those things to yourself, you have to notice, how does your body respond? How your thoughts will start to shift. How the same situation feels different when you're not coming from isolation. That's quantum spirituality in action. Identity shift, frequency shift, experience shift. So now if I bring all of this together, if you remember nothing else, please just take this with you. Your true identity is one with source. You are not separate, like a separate self trying to reach something higher. You are a local expression of the same field that Yeshua, all the other spiritual avatars pointed at when they said, me and source are one. Remember, fear shrinks when identity expands. When you stop living as a separate fragment of the eternal collective consciousness, fear loses its power to define your reality. Time and your problems will look different when you come from a place of oneness. You stop trying to control the entire timeline and you start partnering with Source in the now. And last but not least, you are a conscious participant, not a passive victim. Every moment is a chance that you can choose to align over fear, love over contraction, trust over isolation. So your assignment for today is declare 3 times out loud to yourself that you are one with Source and you are not separate. If any sort of fear arises today, ask yourself, what belief in separation is underneath this and what higher truth can I choose? And if you're in a situation where you're feeling crushed by the outside world from your problems or the time that you're going through, you can ask yourself, what is required of me in this moment only? And if you do that, you're not just going to have a better day. You are literally going to be living from the deepest truth quantum spirituality and all the spiritual avatars have been pointing to all along. You are not outside of this kingdom of heaven. You are not outside the field. You are an expression of it here, right now, in a perfectly human form. And if something inside of you knows that this is your path, you can comment one more time, I am one. Not as a slogan, but as a declaration that you're done living separate. You're done living as a scared self, and you're ready to live for what you actually are. A conscious, divine expression, walking through time, shaping reality from the inside out. Now, tomorrow, we're going to build on this again. We're going to go even deeper on how this oneness transforms your relationships, your purpose, and the way that you move through a world that's forgotten it's one. But for today, let's just have this be enough. You're not alone. You are not separate. You are one with Source, the field, the kingdom within, with all the other humans, with the plants, with the animals, with the water, with the mountains. You are one. And now it's time to start living like it. I love you, Team Human. Damn, homie. In high school, you was the man, homie. What the fuck happened to you? I got the sickest vendetta. When it comes to the cheddar, you gon' play with my paper. You gon' meet my Beretta. Hey, I don't know. I think that was pretty gas, bro. I think that might want a big bit of bit of boo, but about bit but a big bit of boo. You know, that was a pretty good one, bro. What's up, Rachel Jones? Okay, I just need to know, where is everybody at? Steven Dwayne Wozener. What's up, bro? I've never even talked to you before. This is your first time on one of my lives. I just want to say, if nobody's told you today, homie, I'm proud of you and I love you. Thank you all for just coming and hanging out with me. Yes, I did hear about Joe Fells. Rest in peace. That whole situation is quite suspicious. Don't you find that suspicious? Don't you find that suspicious? All I heard basically was that this individual passed away. There's lots of crazy things happening. Supposedly he chose to self-exit, even though repeatedly over and over again on camera, he talked so much about how he would never self-exit, you know? Oh, Apple Juice, check these out, bro. Sick, bro. These are fire, bro. Yeah, he did say that. He did say that. If you want one of those tie-dyes, tripoverdrip.shop. Did you guys see the Perez Hilton? Okay, I'm very quickly going to show Perez Hilton, and then I'm going to exit out of this, okay? If you don't know what happened, do you know who Perez Hilton is? The influencer. You guys seen that image where he was on a live stream on TikTok? Ugh, it's crazy. Cutting himself, covered in blood. It's very scary, bro. Very scary. We kind of got into this last night. Speaking of last night, Kevin is a human. Shout out Kevin is a Human in the Real Bays. Dude, I was up until like 4 o'clock in the morning. Me, Kevin is a Human, and Real Bays last night recorded a 4-hour podcast, bro. It's insane. Yeah, Kevin is a Human, Real Bays. Shout out Kevin is a Human. 4-hour podcast, bro. No, we didn't live stream. It was just pre-recorded. It was just pre-recorded, and it'll come out sometime in the near future on Baze's channel. We talked about everything, bro. Like literally everything, bro. We went as far as talking about AI, politics, transgenderism, God and Jesus. We talked about all of it. It was insane. It was so fun to do. Okay, JP Spears. You guys like JP Spears? So yeah. I just want to start today's off with a little bit of comedy. JP Spears is so freaking funny, bro. Let's just hear what he has to say. Breaking news. Everything is fake and gay, and enjoy the 40th peace deal.
Here's some breaking news. Nothing is real. Everything is fake and gay. That's lovely. In other news, Netanyahu recently invited Trump to visit him in the White House. That was nice of him. And they had very serious discussions about pretending to end the war in Iran. Welcome to We Lie to You News. Everything you see is fake and gay. We're all kind of And welcome to our Everything is Fake and Gay special report tonight. Here's Secretary of State Marco Rubio trying to shut down free speech across the world when it comes to criticizing Israel.
We are holding international organizations and nations accountable for rhetoric against Israel.
For elite.
Think about that. Think about what Marco Rubio just said.
Rubio trying to shut down free speech across the world when it comes to criticizing Israel.
We are holding international organizations and nations accountable for rhetoric against Israel.
For a leader of a country whose founding principle is freedom of speech, it sure seems real that that's what he's standing for as he tells the world they're not allowed to say true things about Israel. And given that he's just fine with the world criticizing, well, his country, America, but not Israel, it also seems very real that he's serving the American public. And here you can see America's leadership standing for America. Our next fake and gay story, the Fauci hearing. Boy, our trusted government was really out to get justice against Fauci, weren't they? During his hearings, Fauci faced real consequences, given his hearings came after, not before, his criminal pardon from Biden, and after the statute of limitations ran out on prosecuting him. But the government did a great job of giving off the impression they were really serious about holding him accountable. And to believe that, you also have to suspend the reality that Fauci was working for the government when he committed alleged crimes against humanity, and therefore the Senate hearings were the government investigating the government to see if the government did anything wrong. Now get this, it turned
He put it so perfectly, bro. The government investigating the government to find out if the government did anything wrong. Do you think what Fauci did are crimes against humanity? If you agree, you could just put poop emojis in the chat. Because I think they were crimes against humanity. I think with the Dr. Fauci deposition, we just watched the deep state or the cabal plead the fifth.
Turns out the government is not going to be held accountable by the government for what the government did. That surprised me. Regardless, it was an excellent theatrical performance by everyone involved. Kudos. Watch Fauci here and Senator Hawley in action.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, nothing says honesty like taking the fifth, huh, Doc? Let's try something. What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
Wow. His counsel advised him to not answer questions on what day of the week it is. That's some very specific legal counsel. But upon further investigation, turns out that's just how Fauci answered all questions. Over 100 questions, just pleading the fifth, which is actually not his right to do, given that he already received a pardon. So Fauci literally broke the law by pleading the fifth. And given that, what were the consequences of him doing that during the hearing? The consequences were he was allowed to. Faking gay, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're doing. Oh, but this just in. States are now launching investigations into Fauci, which I'm sure is not just an extension of the show to convince the public that the government is here to protect them from perpetrators. Just act like we're doing the thing so we don't have to do the thing, so the dummies keep paying us most of their money. Whatever. Next up in the Charlie Kirk murder trial, Tyler Robinson has been placed on suicide watch, as the amount of holes in the official narrative are plentiful.
Whoa. Let's just verify this for everybody. It seems quite suspicious. It seems suspicious. Tyler Robinson, the alleged murderer of Charlie Kirk, is in the Utah County Jail. Has he been placed on suicide watch?
According to recent reports from outlets like KUTV and CBS News, Tyler Robinson, the suspect in Charlie Kirk's killing, is being held in the Utah County Jail's special housing unit under very restrictive conditions. Officials have said he is on suicide watch, wearing special attire.
Do you know what the special... I've been to this jail, bro. I know exactly what he was just describing. We call it a turtle suit. Okay, I got to bring you in close for this, bro. Yeah, like as an inmate, we called it a turtle suit because it's green, and it's literally... It's you know those, I can't explain it. You know those blankets that can't be burned? They look like they got ridges, you know what I'm saying? It's like a big green blanket that has holes for your arms and velcro's closed. It's self-exiting proof, basically, meaning that you can't self-exit with it. And then in this suicide watch, you're literally in a big room with a huge glass display, and it's just you in a blank room with this turtle suit, and you literally have to sleep in, it's that we call them canoes, but it's basically just a bowl-shaped piece of plastic that you lay on, and that's it. And you have to shit in the middle of the floor. There's no toilet. They literally can't give you any possibility to self-exit. It's pretty crazy. But it just seems sus as shit, bro, that this dude is in suicide watch. Haven't we watched this playbook over and 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 over? Yeah, you are. You're completely naked underneath those blankets. What's up, Queen Trip? Baby girls in the house. Can everybody just put red hearts in the chat for Queen Trip?
Watch for Tyler Robinson to be Epsteined soon. And when he is, don't question why the security cameras were all off all of a sudden. Kind of thing just happens. Some of the time in 100% of these cases. Moving along. The faking gay peace deal between Trump and Iran is...
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Queen Trip will... Shit, that one caught me by the boo-boo. Yeah. Sorry for coughing in your ear. I didn't expect that one to kick me in the nuts. But Queen Trip will be here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're giving away free signed merch. We're giving away one of these, and we're giving away the other tie-dye design, one of each. We're giving away merch tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. You have to be in the stream to get the merch, so you better be here.
is looking more gay than ever. Let's hear about the latest move from President Trump.
President Trump calling off planned strikes against...
Oh, yeah. It might be like 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I forgot. We do have a Matrix party tomorrow. Just kidding. It's actually pretty fun, and I like going. We've went every single year. What's up, Brandy? I see you up in here, Brandy. What's good, Brandy? What's up, Rachel? What's up, Steven? What's up, Scruffmeister? I see you. What's up, Kate Cleo, Anna Ray, Marie Moon, Apple Juice, Melissa Clark? What's good, dude? What's good? What's good? But yeah, tomorrow evening. Are you guys in the Discord? Is everybody in the Discord? You guys need to join the Discord. Let me just get the Discord for you guys, bro, because this is the best way. This is where I'll announce when I'm live. Oh gosh, where'd it go, boy? Let's go. Applications. Let's go on to the Discord. The Discord. Where are we? Where are we going to give you the link to the Discord? Where are we? Where is Discord? Where is the Discord? Dude, Kevin is a human, bro. Thank you for the gifted sub. I love you, bro. You know what was the most beautiful part about last night, Kevin, if I can be honest with you, is that it felt so, at least for me, bro, I can only speak for myself. It felt good to have actual conversation with people who aren't just easily swayed by what somebody else says. Does that make sense? There's lots of conversations in my life where I like try to talk about maybe my beliefs or how I feel. And most humans aren't the type, which is a very admirable characteristic, like either you or Base or myself, to tell that individual that I disagree with you. That is magic, bro. That is magic. We were able to have long, in-depth, deep conversations about topics, bro. And we provided video evidence of people who lots of other people watch and listen to for information or guidance or whatever it may be. And we all pretty much had a conversation about some pretty deep topics, and all of us thought different things and believed different things and had the conversation in a manner where we were literally telling like, that's bullshit. I don't believe you. Whatever, dude. You know what I mean? Because those conversations are hard to have sometimes. Those conversations, a lot of people will exactly do the opposite of what I am saying is the magic. They will just cave because they don't want the confrontation. They'll cave and just agree and say whatever it may need to be said to appease the energy, to not create a hostile environment where they feel the need to defend themselves, if that makes sense. I know that obviously if we were talking about those certain things, bro, you're right. I think discourse is important. That's what we were talking about yesterday about the political, identity politics, is that one thing that happened when identity politics, whether it was created whenever we were arguing about it being created or whatever, one of the symptoms of identity politics is that discourse has been removed from regular human behavior. Why do I think these things we do, the live streams, the podcast, why do I think they're so appealing to the masses? Is because a lot of humans on planet Earth don't have or see long form conversation. Most of it's in BRBs and freaking LOLs. Does that make sense? Do you agree? Poop emojis if anyone agrees with me. But join the Discord, bro. Join the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, I just pinned it and put it in all the chats. I'll pin it to the top of Facebook. I'll pin it to YouTube. Pin it. Yeah. How can we ever? That's the thing about that I feel the most connected to about this situation is If we never ever listen and have conversations with people who believe differently than us, how are we ever actually supposed to perceive reality from the different dimension of the person who is perceiving it? Because if, like I said, if we all are actually, what's up, dude? Just wave back to old Blue Scorpio 81. What's goody? But if we never actually, what's up? But yeah, if we never actually give the other people the opportunity to speak and say how they believe in an energetic environment where it's a neutral ground, where there is no hostility, then we're never ever going to actually be able to solve any of the problems on planet Earth. We're never going to be able to solve the problems if we can't have discourse like that. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. What's up, Julie P?
As he says, a deal is close.
Yeah, I mean, for crying out loud, might as well call off one night of bombing when you're close to a deal that you've been pretending to already have for over a month and a half. And the Iranians, of course, can concur that they're close to a deal with Trump, as they state they're not currently in any talks. But do you really need a peace deal when you can just tell everyone you have a peace deal? Trump's big memorandum of understanding that came over a month and a half ago was the original marker of peace really beginning, and that was a 14-point peace deal. But the new one that Trump's working on top of the old deal, which was a very successful deal, I might add, is a 20-point peace plan. And I must say, 14-point peace plan compared to a 20-point peace plan, why, we have a bigger number on our hands, which makes me believe it even more. Whatever, that's it for today's news. For an administration that's no longer recognizing Pride Month, they seem to make every day Pride Month with how flamboyantly fake and gay they've gotten. Now, if something coming from our government seems fake and gay, that means you're using your brain. You're supposed to do that. And if something coming from them seems real, it means you're not using your brain. Simple as that. Good night. No, it's good. We're in good shape. Our country is real.
You tell me. Let's see how many comments can get modded. But if you believe that everything is fake and gay, can you please just type the words fake and gay? Okay, Kevin O'Leary says that his $6,000 earpiece reads every single message, translates 5 languages, and lets him listen to conversations across the room. This thing is connected to my phone. Let's just listen to Kevin O'Leary, fucking piece of shit. Kevin O'Leary is building the Stratos project that's going to completely destroy the state that I live in. It's going to be catastrophic for the environment inside of Utah. I'll just say it. But let's just listen to what he says about his cool new earbud. This is coming to a city near you.
So I'm going to pull it out of my ear. This is an IFB, a Bluetooth IFB from a company called Starkey. I don't own any of Starkey. Why am I wearing this thing? This thing is connected to my phone. It reads to me every communication I'm getting. Even if it comes in a foreign language, it translates it into English for me. I've chosen 5 different languages because I'm doing business in the Middle East. You can use it for all kinds of purposes. You know, if you've got a bum ear, you can use it as a hearing aid. But if I want to listen to the conversation over there, I can tune it to listen in over there. Now, these are not cheap, $6,000. But this thing has saved my hiney so many times when I travel and, you know, or I'm doing something like on television.
I'm done listening to that, dude. What the fuck? You said hiney? You're a old grown ass man, dude. Oh yeah, Trump launches service to hide epic level insider training in plain view. We talked about this. What's up, Vines? What's up, Vines? Dude, we talked about this, bro. Remember, he freaking launched Trump's or Truth Social Premium, where basically his Truth Socials go out on a Friday and it drastically affects the entire market, making people either lose or make tons and tons of money. People are either getting crushed because of a tweet or a truth social that Trump puts out about the war in Iran, all of a sudden oil prices skyrocket or whatever. Well, guess what? Trump is now offering for $100,000 a month. People can pay to get those truths that are going to shake the market before everyone else does. Let's just hear what Alex Jones has to say about this.
To give like I said, the Bloomberg terminal access to Donald Trump's market-changing posts on social media. That's crazy. That'd be like if you gave a back channel that you said, well, we're going to do C-SPAN Plus, where you get direct access to the floor of the House as they're making decisions. And then we're also going to do C-SPAN Minus, which is what the regular people get, and it's 20 seconds delayed. So if they pass something crazy, then you can make market-moving changes, and you have this, like, you know, this window. And it might be
let's be clear about that.
Seconds.
C-SPAN Plus would be like putting microphones at every desk so you could hear the wrangling. I mean, that would be invaluable insider trading information. For people that don't know, at the Battle of Waterloo, that's how the British Empire won against Napoleon. They sent carrier pigeons to the coast. A quick corvette went across and told the Rothschilds that the British had won. They said, oh, the British have lost, crashed the stock market.
Okay, can we not see, like, bro, it's right in front of us, bro. The president is literally selling information that will make people money. That is literally the definition of insider trading, of trading on our open markets with insider information. That's why these fucking politicians, these senators, that's why the freaking House of Representatives and all of these other people are living off of a supposed like $100,000 or maybe $200,000 a year. And somehow right after they become senator, within 5 years, they're worth $100 million. Oh, Nancy Pelosi, she's like, I'm not trading. It's my husband. Trump says, I'm not trading. It's just my financial team that's trading for me. Like, fucking get the fuck out of here. He's literally selling our country, bro.
I think any community at a very low cost to the grid. So we're getting more and more electric, costs us nothing. I think any community that turns down AI is making a big mistake, because your taxes are going to go way down. If you own a house, it's going to be more valuable. It's a tremendous thing. And I see it, it's almost like there's a...
See, this is what he said here. He said, if you own a house, it's going to be more valuable. We're literally in a situation in America where the biggest conversations around houses is the fact that nobody can fucking buy one. Nobody can buy one. So who gives a fuck if bringing an AI data center is going to make it so houses are more valuable? What? So that the fucking the bank firms and BlackRock and Vanguard, the ones that own all the homes, can make more money? Like, what the fuck, bro?
There's a campaign against, data centers. But data centers, if you look at the stats, everything's good around them. Now, the thing they should look at is blue states and blue cities, cities run by Democrats.
See, this is the fucking obvious tactic that they do, that when they're going to divide people, bro. They're literally like, okay. I don't want any sort of conspiratorial or political bias in your answer. I just want the actual raw data of what these data centers will do to the planet, what they will do to the water consumption, to the environment, changing the temperature of the location of these places by even 0.05 degrees. I just want to know what the AI data centers actually do to the planet.
Sure thing. Here's a concise summary of the raw data on AI data centers' environmental impacts based on several sources like MIT News, EESI, and Nature Forward. First, water consumption. Data centers use lots of water for cooling. Estimates say a medium-sized center can use around 300,000 to 500,000 gallons of water per day, while large hyperscale centers can use up to 5 million gallons daily, comparable to the water usage of a town of 10,000 to 50,000 people. Over a year, a mid-sized center might consume up to 110 million gallons. Across the US, data centers combined were estimated to consume roughly 449 million gallons per day as of 2021. Most of this water evaporates in the cooling process, and in hotter climates, demand can triple during summer. Second, energy and carbon. High energy consumption leads to higher carbon emissions. Cooling systems also increase water demand indirectly because the electricity used often comes from power plants that themselves need water. Third, local environmental effects. Data centers can create data heat islands that raise land surface temperatures. One study found average local temperature increases of about 2 degrees, in extreme cases as high as 9 degrees, extending roughly 10 kilometers around these facilities. Also, evaporative cooling towers can
How
release...
many miles is 10 kilometers?
10 kilometers is about 6.21 miles.
Okay, 500 million gallons a day. And some of these data centers physically raise the temperature up to 9 degrees, 6-mile radius around the data center. You don't think that's going to destroy the planet, bro? Consume all of the water, dry and heat everything up? This is what I was talking about in this political divide right here. He wants it to make us caring about the planet political. He literally just said that the problem is blue states. It's the blue states that don't like the data centers. How about it's just like humans who actually like care about the planet? Can you just comment the words, I love planet Earth? Oh yeah, this is...
It's never
Here we go for the 50th time.
very complex. We're talking about the strait, the opening of the strait, having it open literally by tomorrow.
Fuck you. He said that how many times? How many times, bro? How many times? Keep politics out of this, but how many times has Trump alleged or led on to believe that the Strait of Hormuz will be open and opened for good?
From what I could find, there have been a few recent instances where Donald Trump publicly claims the Strait of Hormuz was open or under U.S. guardianship. For example, he said on social media that the Strait of Hormuz was open for all ship traffic except Iran's, and he stated that the U.S. would be the guardian of the Hormuz Strait. He also mentioned in an interview that the U.S. would restart its naval blockade and open the strait to shipping during negotiations. And when asked if Iran had closed the strait, he said, "It's open as far as we're concerned."
He's fucking retarded. Can we not see that he's lying to us? But that is a good point, Kate. Is that why the elites are actually building bunkers and then building data centers on the top layer of the earth? Is because they know that the data centers will destroy the top layer, bro. Dropping bars, Katie. Oh, yeah. Joe Kent told Piers Morgan that a third political party, including Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Tucker Carlson, are on the way. What? You're saying that for the first time in history that potentially humans who were part of the Matrix saw what the Matrix was doing, left the Matrix, and now they're all congregating together to create a third political party? What do you think? Do you think that's the only way that we can be saved, bro? What do you think, bro? Do you think that the America has a chance if these guys all, they get the political Avengers together and try and save America? What do you think? Let's just hear what Joe Kent has to say.
Photograph that emerged over the weekend. And you were in this picture. It was at Tucker Carlson's home. You're in there with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey, Tucker. What was this? There is word that you're all planning, as Marjorie Taylor Greene put it, a new political movement. What is the movement? Could it be an actual party? What was going on?
Things are in the initial phases right now, but there is a growing consensus on, I think, both the right and the left, with people who are sick and tired of the Republican Party. They're sick and tired of the Democrat.
We love you, Monica. Monica's struggling right now. She is a dear friend and a lovely sister that we have all come to love and talk to. She really needs an energy shift. And you know how you can help with that? Is you can just type the words, "I love you, Monica," in the chat so she can just see it a whole bunch of times and we just let her know, just to let her know energetically that we all love her and that we're all praying for her and that you're in our hearts. And I hope that you do find strength, and I hope that you are able to find clarity. We love you, Monica.
Party. They want us out of these foolish wars that we're just sitting here talking about right now. Most Americans have no idea what we're talking about. They don't know about Gaza. They don't know about the Straits of Hormuz. They just know that billions of their taxpayer dollars, their blood, their treasure, their sons and their daughters continue to get sent overseas. Our best and brightest get killed. Our taxpayer dollars get spent over there while things continue to decay here in America. And so what we're trying to do is just build a coalition of people who say we're finally going to put America first. We're not going to focus on the next foreign war. We're not going to listen to foreign lobbies like AIPAC and like the Israelis. We're going to focus on the issues that matter here to the American people. And those of us that were there at that table, myself, Tucker, Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and there's others as well. We are, I think, people who initially were part of the MAGA movement, the Trump Republican Party, but we feel that we.
I just wanted to share that with you guys, that there is another political party that is being formed. There isn't. Now, I have a little clip I wanted to share with you guys. And hopefully, Monica, do you guys know who Aubrey Marcus is? Shout out Aubrey Marcus. Hopefully one day, me and this individual will be able to have a conversation. I really admire him, and he's a very brilliant and he's a very enlightened human. So let's just listen to what he has to say.
Separate from everybody else. So they say, you know, Satan is the father of lies, they say, you know, and I think that points to something, because it starts with the first delusion that I am separate from everybody else. Ego, I am, but really what ego means is I am not you. I am something else. And in the Aboriginal culture, they say nang nang, and they only say that's what they say when they're like ready to fight somebody. But otherwise, their pronoun is us too, because they're recognizing the collective space that you're sharing with all other people. But this force, I think, that isolates the self, isolated from the field, what I call the field, is, I think, really where a lot of these anti-you voices, these dark forces, that's the opening that kind of creates them, and then can start to plague the mind. One, it can start to destroy and deteriorate yourself, or it could try to inflate yourself, which is another way of destroying the self. And that's what I saw happen to my father. You know, he was not able to source the adequate self-love, so he found a voice, this dark voice inside, that inflated him and told him all of the things to make him, you know, the next messiah, the next whatever else it might be. And he died isolated, alone in his madness and psychosis. So this, one of the reasons why I'm writing this book, is it's a story of, all right, like I need to go deep into this force to understand it. It took my father's life, and I'm the son, and I'm here to like appropriately avenge my father's death. But the death was his own voice, and it's the own voice that we all have inside. It was his personal anti-you. Like the anti-you is both personal, completely personal, and absolutely universal. So like finding it within ourselves. So I've had to find it in myself.
Yeah.
And like helping people to find it, so that we can actually then see the benefit of it, because actually it serves a purpose. Because once you're able to see it, it can drive, like suffering itself. It drives the evolution of our consciousness. It drives our growth. It becomes the worthy opponent, the adversary, Hasatan, the adversary, that actually allows us to say, thank you. Thank you for this contest. Now I'm going to step into a greater level of resonance and consciousness.
Yes. Beautiful. Well, in this case, it's important for us as humans, so what you've gone to do the narrative therapy, which is what I promote to people, to remind them to see that your dad came to suffer and to leave a trace in you, so that you help others with the way he suffered.
Yes.
But that has to be recontextualized, and to understand that, yeah, maybe I'm sure it was very traumatic for you to see him isolating himself and marked you forever. But this you created the alchemy here. You are bringing this negative energy, let's call it, far more than energy, and emotions and emotional states and so on and so forth, and ideas, to transmute this negative energy into a positive one and bring learning out of it to yourself and others. And that voice is serious.
I just wanted to touch on that. We are all alchemists. The negative energy is not going away. There is real power in the awareness of the negative energy and the ability and the willingness to transmute that negative energy into positive energy. That's literally what alchemy is. Changing one thing to the other. For most people who know what an alchemist is like changing lead to gold using the Philosopher's Stone, right? Once you can be aware of the energy, you have the ability to manipulate it. But oh, how hard is that to do? Like, being real with you, like, sometimes it gets too much. Sometimes I'm just in a consistent state of exhaustion, bro, from just transmuting all the time, dude. Every day, whether it's transmuting my own inner negative or negative emotion in my day-to-day experiences, whether it's transmuting the darkness in the Epstein files or whatever it may be. Can you guys just comment the words Team Human is full of alchemy?
And we need to follow that voice, but it has to be in tune. It has to be in line with Christ consciousness, with the Logos, with the likeness of God within us. God as harmony, God as love, cosmic magnitude of love. And I've had mystical experiences. I'm talking from real experiences and not confabulating. But there's also learning, even if the person died because of that voice.
Right.
Is that how can we trust that voice and take it to places of beauty, of learning, and not further separation? Most likely he did that because of things in his subconscious mind, things he needed to heal from, and darkness that was not addressed because we're not given these tools by our parents most of the time.
Sure.
Now we're starting to learn about him in the past. I mean, this has been happening for quite a long time, but now it has increased immensely. So many people now are into yoga and meditation, spirituality, and shamanism, and psychedelics, and breath work, and eating better. So we're learning to fine-tune this generational trauma in our epigenetics so that eventually...
Isn't that such a beautiful thing, though? Come on, you have to, as a human on a spiritual path, we can acknowledge that right now really is a transformative time for humanity, because there is a whole bunch of people that are anti-religion, they're anti-God, they're anti-Jesus even, you know? There is. But that doesn't mean that they aren't doing their own spiritual work. That doesn't mean that they don't directly connect God to their higher self, which is just a way that a lot of people have God trauma, bro. A lot of people have religious trauma, bro. Because it's, for me specifically, and I can only speak specifically, and if you agree, you can put poop emojis in the chat. But my whole life, I've known that there is this field of energy and this conscious, intelligent thing. I don't even know what it is. A field, a vibration, a frequency. Oh no, Amber Vine, sorry, real quick. Everybody's over in Kick. Kick is like the place where the whole crew is chilling. Let me just grab this link, okay? I'll grab the link to the Kick stream. That's where really everybody is at. Oh, Roy T. Let me just drop the link in all the chats, bro. Drop the link in all the chats. You don't have to apologize or say anything for interrupting. We're here to have conversation and hang out. You know what I'm saying? I do it because I'm here and doing this because I want to have conversation with you, boy or girl, whoever you are on the other side. I was responding to Amber, but I'm talking to all of you. I'm here to have a conversation with y'all. I really want to make this place a safe place for all humans to be able to come here and talk about whatever they want to talk about. And sometimes I'm just the one that's on camera that is providing a guide of where this conversation leads. Because at the end of the day, this is all therapeutic and great for me. I know. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? So if you click the link that's pinned to the top of the chat in Facebook, and then I will just pin this one on YouTube. That is Kick. Kick is the streaming platform that compensates their creators the best. They treat their creators the best. There's the least restrictions about what you can and can't say. It's not an American company. They provide compensation way more compassionately than other platforms do. So that's where everybody is on Kick. I have to use the bathroom. My mom just showed up, so I'm not sure why she's here. I'm going to go chat with her for just a few moments. I won't be gone for very long, but I will leave you with some more Base Forge to watch while I run upstairs real fast. I hope you're still going to be here. I don't like taking breaks. I try to go as long as I possibly can, but I'll be right back.
Cosmology. Now, alchemy is an Arabic word. Al-Hem means of Egypt. Both of these cultures use a consciousness-first science. The reason why so many brilliant minds are into this stuff is because what they carved on the walls looks like what we're inventing today. Now we're in the age of decoding what's been right in front of us. Or is that awakening? 7 years of research, I've never seen anything like this before. This is a motor that cells use to move around. You have trillions of them in you right now. That is the top of a column in a Hindu temple. The level of detail and craftsmanship is one thing, but there's a level of geometric and engineering knowledge that is closer to what we see in aircraft manufacturing. That turbine and the biomotor both do the same thing so that an airplane and bacteria can move. If this isn't depicting the same thing, you're gonna have to explain to me where the design inspiration came from that coupler and the little stator guy right here. No way they could see these things. These things are complex molecular parts that are assembled and held together by electrons and run on electricity so bacteria can move. This little guy is what gets me though. He's like a little clutch that engages the molecules so it can spin. That's not what that is. Run it back. In the little animation, you know what you see when you look straight up into that motor? You see this thing right here. If you look straight up in one of these temples, guess what you see? There's a pile of coincidences and then there's a pile of explanations, and this pile is getting quite large. Last one, they may look the same, but the biomotor runs on electrical frequency, which I would have labeled with a snake if I was writing a manual for this thing. There's a place in India called Sahasra Linga. In the river are literally thousands of lingams. Now, modern science with a little help from ancient Egypt is exposing their true purpose. The things are everywhere. In Hinduism, they're always associated with water. The lingam is the pointy part and the yoni is the table. They work together to influence the waters of creation, and that one is actually massive. Now think of Shiva as a discharge force. He always has a snake coiled around his neck and a trident. Vishnu is always seen with a lotus, magnetism. When these two are in balance, the creator god Brahma can create. This is the trinity in Hinduism, illustrated by the churning of the ocean of milk. Vishnu supports creation on this turtle, while Shiva constantly reorganizes it. For the experiment, we have a Tesla coil that is Shiva, with these capacitors over here, which are just water. An excess of charge builds up, creating a spark gap. So we have Shiva and Vishnu creating this balanced flow with the snakes, where the trident is the tool to wield it. The Egyptian version is called tying the knot. with Horus and Set in place of Shiva and Vishnu. Their lingams are referred to as offering tables, which are almost always decorated with instructions. The diagram is all over the place, but this one in particular is the key. It has to do with that little guy. Here's the Hindu example with the flower and the lingam being in place of the ankh. But they're not the only ones. There's also some in Greece, Persia, Mexico, and Russia. It's actually on every continent, but if you know the symbols, you don't need to know the language. That is the core of every ancient mystery. Have you seen this?
Gas. Can we put fire emojis in the chat if that shit is gas? He has so much information, bro. I learned so much, and I watch him over and over again because the information he provides is just so much shit, and I need to watch it over and over to be able to actually integrate it and process all of it, bro. Pretty Ricky, what's up, girl? Nice to see ya. Nice to see ya, sis. We love you around here, sis. But let's just keep going down this spiritual path we've been going down.
This crescendo is going to be an accelerando as well, slow speeding up, and we become different species, and our behavior would change. But we need to create a dialogue around it and a discussion to see that people come and die and leave something behind. It's up to us to contextualize it properly or improperly. And I think this was a beautiful gift.
Yeah.
From your dad.
You know, I was in a darkness retreat in 2020, and my dad was still alive, but in the depth of his psychosis. It's been years since we've had contact. You know, I would send him an email every year on his birthday and Christmas and, you know, different things, but he would never respond to me. But he appeared to me in the darkness. So in the darkness retreat, you know, it triggers this endogenous DMT release. So I had a vision there, and my father was reading.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Did y'all catch what he said? Come on, you guys caught what he said. He said the exact same thing that I said yesterday, that Perplexity said I was wrong. Remember how I was asking Perplexity about people having dimethyltryptamine breakthrough experiences when they're in complete darkness? And Perplexity said that has not been proven. He just said the same thing.
He was right there in the corner of the room. Of course, the room's completely black, so this is a vision. Open-eyed, closed-eyed, doesn't matter, because everything's black anyways. And he's there reading a book. And I say to him, Dad, what are you reading? And he says, The Book of Lies. I said, why are you reading that book, Dad? And he looks back up to me and he says, well, because I never thought I was enough. I never thought I was worthy of love. So I had to read the Book of Lies to tell me that I was worthy so I could love myself. And he closes the book and throws it over his shoulder and says, son, like, know that you're always worthy of love, no matter what you do, no matter what happens. You're always worthy of love, and you'll never have to read the Book of Lies. And I was like, I love you, Dad. You know.
Let's get real for a second. Can we get real? Get vulnerable? How many of you guys, like myself, can resonate with that? I mean, I'm a trauma victim of sexual, physical, emotional abuse as a child. I'm a recovering addict. I have been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, as well as I have self-diagnosed myself from what I comprehend about the large spectrum of autism. I think I was misdiagnosed to have ADHD and given Ritalin when I was younger. But if I'm being honest with you, bro, majority of my life problems all stem from the fact where I just truly believed I wasn't worthy of love. So I never showed myself love. Like throughout my addiction, I was strung out on drugs for a long, long time, bro. Like 16 years old until I was 30, bro. And then I went to prison and everything changed. But for that whole entire experience, if I'm being 100% honest with you, It all stemmed from the fact that I didn't believe that I was worthy of love. And so I never did anything ever really until I started down my spiritual journey to actually care about me, to actually do things that are good for me. And that's not just like having a job and doing all of these things. It's like legitimately like stop calling myself names. Stop telling myself that I can never do anything right. Telling myself lies inside of my head to myself. I promise to myself that I'll do this. Oh, I'm gonna start going to the gym tomorrow. Yeah, I'm no longer gonna allow this person to talk to me like that. And then not holding myself accountable when I don't necessarily even believe myself. Because if you really think about the amount of times that you potentially have lied to yourself, how many times does it take someone to lie to you that's outside of yourself before you have a problem with it? Before you prevent that person from being in your presence or associating with that person because they've lied to you so many times? Like, realistically, how many times have you told yourself that I'm going to do this tomorrow? I'm going to do it when I'm ready. I'm pretty good. Hey, Hazik, what's up, dude? Did you see it? I don't know if you saw this. I don't know if you use Kick, but I pinned the Kick link to the top of the chat. You're kind of by yourself. But Monica's up over here on Twitch. Apple Juice might still be on Twitch. Monica's only in Twitch because she's trying to save up her channel points. Oh, Queen Trip is up over here on Twitch. Okay. What's good? I just didn't see anybody talking or chatting for a while. But yeah, like majority of my life, all of my choices were strictly based around the thought that I genuinely believed that I wasn't worthy of love. And yeah, that was from like the way adults treated me. That was from a lot of traumatic experiences I had as a child. That was being in and out of foster care as a child because my mom was addicted to drugs. You know what I'm saying? So like, the layers go deep, actually, you know? And it really, the second I actually took my own personal self-love as a priority instead of just something that I'll do if I have time or if I feel good enough to do it or I'm ready to do it, a lot of things changed in my life. And I would like to say that, you know, people talk about how in their lives they like turn the page or have a different chapter, if that makes sense, you know? The chapter of my life. That was a different time, a past life. That was the old me, whatever you want, however you want to describe it. Is that literally the second I decided that me loving myself and doing things every day to show and tell myself that I love myself, whether that's just going outside and putting my feet on the grass to allow me to energetically decompress, whether that's actually giving myself real positive affirmations out loud to myself, looking at myself in the mirror, whether that's just fighting through the negative self-talk, no matter how much negative self-talk is, because I know that I'm here for a higher purpose, you know, because the negative self-talk is real. It is real, bro. But like he said, the awareness of that dark energy, there's magic that happens. But let's keep going.
It was a profound moment, and it points exactly to what you're saying, is that he reached for these voices. The voices found their opening because he had linked his own self-love to his performance. And when he was no longer able to perform, you know, he was a famous, you know, pioneer in commodities trading, but then computers came along and outpaced his own ability to use his one mind against, you know, other minds. He had a competitive edge, but in the computer world, he didn't adapt to be able to meld his minds with computer and big information. So he lost his edge, and so he was losing. So his performance, his love was linked to performance. When his performance dropped, his self-love dropped to such a critical level. that ultimately he was reaching for something that would give him a new level of and a reason to love himself, because the self-love wasn't a priori. It wasn't before antecedent causality, before everything. You know, it was something that was externally validated, and that was the core of his psychosis. And of course the medical world would just want to say, oh, he was, you know, paranoid schizophrenic, and
Give
this
him
is just
medication.
yeah, this is just the thing. But yes, it was that, but it was something much more mythological and something much more like psychological, not pathological.
Yes. Beautiful analysis. Yes, I'm really happy that you learned this lesson. It's yeah. So he was no longer tapped into the dopamine axis that a lot of people become high achievers and they build huge companies because they get into achieving, but what they want is to show mom and dad that I'm worthy of love.
Yeah.
Am I doing good? Am I good? Do you like me better now? And to feel good about themselves. And in the process, they create huge things. I'm not going to name names about some people who are alive in it.
Oh, man. I just got cold chills, and so I feel compelled to say something, but how many of us, and I know this is a tough one, but how many of us have behaved in a way and we created patterns and thought loops inside of our head because that's all that we just wanted, bro. We just wanted mom and dad to like us. We just wanted mom and dad to accept us. We just wanted mom and dad to say the words, I'm proud of you. And some people never go their entire lives like really, really struggling because that's really the core issue of what people are wanting. And only you can determine whether that's the case or not. I can't sit here and say, yep, you just needed your mom to say I love you. The parent wound is so real. Queen Trip, thank you for being vulnerable. I'm fully aware of what you're talking about, and I just resonate a lot with what you just said, that there's so many people out there that whether it's mom or dad, grandma, your coach, whatever it be, there's people out there that grew up in environments where positive affirmations from people who are said that they're supposed to love you never come. You just never feel validated. You never feel good enough. You never feel like you matter. You never feel like you contribute. You don't feel like part of the group. You feel like an outcast. They treat you like an outcast. They say things that make you feel like you're separate from them or whatever it may be. That is very true, Scruffmeister. Every person needs to learn to reparent themselves, become the parent that they never had, and then use that parenting that they embody to then heal their inner child. Wow.
Impactful who have gone through this, but are they operating in a state of total harmony, or is there dissonance there? Have they done a lot of work on themselves to shift the noise to signal ratio where they're doing only good and not sacrificing themselves? And to realize that this emptiness that he suffered from, because now they're computers and he's no longer the king of trading commodities, and self-worth plummeted. And he went into psychosis because that inner voice that...
I mean, to be honest, Amber, that's spot on. You have to be your own hero, because at the end of the day, I'll say it now, I've said it before, and I will probably say it again. No one's coming to save you, bruh. Only you. That's where the programming begins, is the separation, the me versus them. They never teach us how to deal with the me versus me. They never explain to me that it's always and always has been me versus me. That is the purposes of us being here, is to find and remember the duality of me versus me, because both parts are necessary. Just like he had said before, the awareness of the dark energy actually creates an energy where you can actually transcend, because you're aware of the opposite side. The opposite side doesn't just consume you. The opposite side doesn't control the loops you say to yourself in your head. The dark energy, the energy that's telling you that you're stupid, you're not enough, you're just a fuck up, whatever it may be, only you can resonate with this the way that you resonate. I'm just speaking words to bring the energy. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Nobody's coming to save you. It's only you. Because at the end of the day, people that you might listen to, talk to, conversate with, look up to, that are people you would aspire or admire to be like in personality or in intelligence or in spirituality or in physicality, whatever it may be, there's nothing that they can say that's going to change the fact that you're the one that has to make the perspective shift. Your perspective has to shift. Just like with people in addiction. Nothing's going to make them want to get sober until they choose to get sober. No amount of jail time. Really what it is they have to feel enough pain. There's a breaking point of when you just said, I don't want to feel pain like this anymore. And unfortunately, that's just really how it is. Whether that's emotional pain, spiritual pain, physical pain, financial pain, there's so much different categories. But really when it comes down to it, the human that is controlling the avatar has to make the conscious choice to choose differently, to respond differently, to process it differently, to integrate it differently. I believe in you. Fuck, man, if I'm telling you what, if I can make it, if I can change it, if I can do the things that I have done to be in the position I am in today, anybody can, bro. I'm not supposed to be here, bro. You know? Either dead or in a cage.
It was guiding him turned into something else. What is lacking here is self-worth and self-love. That's what I mean by the absence of self-love is the root cause of all of ours. And then what we start to do is self-medicate with drugs, with things that are not good for us. And we don't address these things the way we're supposed to, as good as rehab centers want to do, but they're still businesses.
Yep.
Just like hospitals and prisons. So
they want to.
Can you guys just comment, yes, they are? Because dead ass rehabs are still businesses. They have to produce results. They have to get profits. They need to make money, etc., etc., etc. It's the self-love. It's the trauma. It's the unhealed wounds. It's the inner child screaming at the top of their lungs that I don't feel safe. I don't feel seen. I don't feel heard. I don't feel loved. The whole healing process is to heal the inner wounds that you have, that you gained as a child, that created the programming or the narrative that you say to yourself. I mean, it's pretty true.
Supposed to, as good as rehab centers want to do, but they're still businesses.
Yep.
Just like hospitals and prisons. So
they want to rehab you just enough that you get enough of a benefit,
exactly.
But you come back, repeat customer.
Repeat customer, milking cows. Same with pharmaceutical companies. Pharmaceuticals can save lives and can do wonders, but are they really healing people in the most efficient way? If we
shout out Cali Sober and Quinn. Shout out Quinn. Shout out Cali Sober.
If a pharmaceutical company spends several years on drug discovery and many millions of dollars, it can go up to a couple of $100 million. Obviously, this pharmaceutical company is not going to create a drug that's going to heal people in 1 month-long prescription or year-long prescription for them to get return on the money invested in that. They need a lot of milking cows. And we have wonderful things happening in Western science and Western medical science and medical field. Pharmaceuticals need some tweaking because healing kills business at the end.
Right.
How can we become more humane and not worry about being very safe in the future? Because to some people, $2 million in a bank account is not enough. $1 billion is not enough. This reptilian brain.
I mean, I know this.
Ghost.
I know this firsthand.
Yeah.
You know, like I sold my business that I started from scratch. I scratched together $110,000 from two, dear friends, and scratched that together and started this business. Was at the very end of that amount of money, and then formed a partnership with Joe Rogan, started the company on it, ran it for 10 years, sold it. And, I had little pieces of money and, some salary and some things that were coming in. So I was okay, but I wasn't like wealthy. I was just, money was in, money was coming out, always like in and out, in and out, in and out. I was always looking to know like what the next, disbursement would be that would cover this next thing. And so I was in this kind of constant state of scarcity. Then all of a sudden, wham, this huge lump sum of money comes into my bank account. And you would think at that point, I would be like, I'm safe. I have plenty of money. But it didn't happen. And
it didn't last long.
it never happened at all. That's the fucking crazy part.
Yeah.
Is like, I still couldn't shut off the reptilian scarcity brain. And so I made decisions still based on scarcity. I got to put this money here and invest it in all of these things. And I was in such a hurry to do this thing because, now I don't have a business anymore. So I don't have a salary. So money's going to run out. So now I got to create. And I was looking at myself and I'm going like, what is going on? And now I can look back and just see, I never took the time to turn off that reptilian brain and actually take a moment to pause and be like, okay, I'm good. I'm safe. Let me put this in places and let me create a lifestyle where I'm safe. But instead, I created another situation where I would get into a state of frenetic energy to create more. And I look back now and be like, whoa, like that was an interesting trip that I took.
It is a trip, and that's what drives reality. That's what feeds the Maya, the state of infatuation with the material world. Fractals.
Yeah.
Wait. The Mata, the Maya. Remember Mind Unveiled talk about the mother, the material.
Yeah.
One thing leading to another, and you have billions and trillions of different variations and infinite number of different realities. How do we navigate through that? Where is true north? What is the thing that we need to follow? Well, we think it's God, but what God? What are we calling God? Where is that God? The male white dude we worship, we call Jehovah? I don't think so. If you read the Bible, there are a lot of iffy things that this God has done. So we've been entrained by that, and we're not waking up to this is not love, and we know that God should be love, omnipresent, omniscient, and powerful, but in a non-egotistical way, and wants self-worship and envious and jealous, bipolar, schizophrenic, promotes killing, promotes divide. It's a trickster God. And if it's happening for us to learn a lesson. And of course, I'm not criticizing religious people. I know they come from a good intention, whether they're Christian, Muslim, and Jews, and whether they're devout, Sunnite or Shiite, or and I don't promote at all this divide, but I'm trying to bring in a healthy level of skepticism to understand why we kill each other, why we misbehave as a very intelligent species. And of course, we do that on the racial level, ideological level, and look at the tension happening between Democrats and Republicans. I'm not interested in politics. I'm interested enough to understand the human condition. I'm not interested in taking sides.
Amen. I am not interested in taking sides. I just want to understand the human condition.
care about not living in time and not seeing this being done and no one is talking about it. We need to bring this narrative in a compassionate way with concern, because we're at a very critical point right now, and we need to play it well. We need to change. We don't have the time to go back and figure out who was wrong. That's not about that. It's about what has been going all along and being overlooked and not being named. That we're only perpetuating different versions of inconvenient and unhealthy realities that we're creating. The other is not to blame. We're all creating that. How can we not do that? The answer to that is love and harmony. And God embodies this. Every experience that I had deep inside of me with divine energy, with cosmic magnitude of love, embodied love and harmony. It's a state of mind. It's an inner poise. It's an equilibrium. It's ethos and pathos. And that's why I resorted to focusing. I came to sound research and sound practice, sound therapy from music. I studied music extensively. I did 4 degrees in music over 12 years, studying different aspects of music, music theory, composition, music education, ethnomusicology, conducting. And that eventually led me to researching where does this power that music has come from, and it's in sound, the harmonic series. We can talk about this later if you like, because this seems to be the most powerful tool or technology. I like to call them technologies, not medicine. Medicine for us Westerners embodies a passive participation. I'm interested in active participation.
Ooh, these healing technologies. Did you hear that? That's pretty profound, bro. Because Western civilization today identifies astigmatism with the word medicine, that you can just be passive and that this medicine will fix it. That's truly not the case. Healing takes active participation. Yeah.
What is that? Well, psychedelics, sound, any tool we use that changes our consciousness is more of a technology, of a tool. We don't have the perfect word for it. Supplement, an agent, but the real medicine is within us. We need something to get us to that. Because for us Westerners, medicine is like, well, if you have heartburn, take omeprazole, and that fixes it. If you have a headache, take Advil, and we have a whole line of different products. And don't change anything in your schedule. Just pop these pills, and the headache is gone, because it's addressing symptoms and not causes.
And then we have 60% of people with some kind of chronic disease.
Yes.
And here we are.
A lot of milking cows.
A lot of milking cows. The one tool that you've gone incredibly deep with, you've gone incredibly deep with many different tools, consciousness technologies of all sorts, including the right ideas, the right understandings, the cleaning of words, which I think is a very important process, which doing clean the words to mean actually what they're intending to mean. So it's not to diminish any of these other aspects of this multifaceted project that you're on, but music is a particular expertise where you have a particularly unique, kind of sight that I haven't heard anybody else really talk about. And I was able to experience the profundity of actual harmony in music and how that can tune us to truth based on the natural law and the mathematics that were actually contained within the music that you were offering. And so I want to talk about that and where we've gone wrong with music and why that has ripple effects, because music has the power to actually tune our own instrument back to truth.
Yeah.
And then allow the distortion the distortion can't hold, in truth, a lie cannot be held. In love, fear cannot be held.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you actually tune the instrument back to the right frequency, then all of these other things start to fall away. And
tune your instrument back to the right frequency. I don't know, bro. Maybe I'm a weirdo, but that shit just makes me excited when people are just talking, Bars.
Music seems to be one of the most potent tools to be able to do that.
Yes. Well, thank you for recognizing this. And I got here by being a student and working hard and being curious and open and working incessantly. And so music seems to be the most indispensable art. If you look and see what humans have done everywhere in the world, in the past, in the present, they highly rely on the presence of music in different contexts. And that's something I study deeply as an ethnomusicologist. For those listening, watching, don't know what ethnomusicology is, it's a field in music that studies music as a sociocultural phenomenon, and the ultimate goal is to understand human beings by studying culture through music. It's kind of like anthropology of music. So you study why people are into this band or this opera.
Boom, right there. Divine timing, Monica, I'm just pointing out divine timing. He's talking about music, and maybe it's you found your harmonica today. Maybe it's time for you to take 5 to 10 minutes a day and just toot your own little horn. You know what I'm saying? Toot toot.
How does this band's music impact the community around that? There are various aspects, the behavior, also the economical, and we see that we use music everywhere all the time in religious experiences in 3 book religions, and the music changes whether you are in a Catholic Church, Protestant Church, Greek Orthodox Church. They use it to a whole other level. Byzantine chants are very, very complex chants, and the music is enormously complex. So talk about that later. In Eastern philosophies, in Hindu temples, chants, prayers, the sutra system that can be sung as well sometimes, and people using music in parties and festivals, in films, commercials, in sports games, in weddings, funerals in some cases, and various functions and events and award-giving ceremonies, and everywhere all the time. So Music is a company that started recording instrumentals to be played in elevators and in places where people work, companies and hospitals sometimes. And there's a field called music therapy that people may not know about it. And now sound, working with sound, unfortunately, it's called terms I don't believe they're just and empowering to the individual to use. Sound healing and sound bath. I like to call it sound meditation. It's not a term that I coined. It's been around, but I found it to be suitable because it communicates truth or something poignant in just 2 words. And we don't always pick the words to describe that, to create that reality. Because words create reality. We'll come back to the esoteric side of sound later in music. So the fact that human beings use music everywhere all the time means it's very important, and they're following intuitive intelligence. And that's the best lab. If you want to notice what's important for people, observe them, especially if they're not impacted by some authority, some establishment that's guiding them. Here, do this, do that. There's this. TV did that. Radio. Not only that, did a lot of great things on the educational level, of course. So, and that's something as a musician, composer, conductor, academic, I was deeply interested in. And the more I studied about music, the more I realized, whoa, there's a lot more fascinating things. And my intention was to do undergrad like most people, maybe a master's, but ended up by staying at the university of 12 years, doing 4 degrees, and I just couldn't stop. And I taught at the university as well. And then I left and stopped doing what I was doing, being a professional musician, composer, conductor, and ethnomusicologist, teaching music in different contexts in New York City and traveling quite a lot, to focus on what is this about? What else can we do with music? Where does this power come from? How can we use it in a more meaningful way? How have others in the world have used it, and to do what? What do they use to talk about it? What do they think is going on? And that became my life's work. 25 years ago, started becoming interested in the power of sound, the harmonic series, the place where harmony comes from. I'll talk about that later. and its intersection with consciousness, spirituality, inner capacity we have within us, divinity, psychedelic research, shamanism, because sound music, when I say sound, that encompasses music and words, of course, and vocalese, non-verbal singing. What?
I love you too, Scott. Love you too, player. Love you too, player. Let's just watch this real fast.
If you shine a laser on Hindu sculptures, the laser will go right through the details of the sculpture. These temples are in the Karnataka region of India, and they don't really make a lot of sense. Because today we would use something like this fiber laser to do that. It is a very high-powered beam of light that is used for cutting and engraving rocks, pretty much stripping the atoms from the material. The result is something similar to what we see in a 900-year-old temple. And if we're covering one head to toe in these carvings, then we would probably use something like a carving robot at scale. Because to understand how they did it, we have to understand why they wanted to do it in the first place. Because Hindu temples are unique in the temple ecosystem. These were not places of congregation like cathedrals. In the spiritual sense, cathedrals are more like a spaceship for your consciousness, where a higher form of perception is manipulated using light and sound. Fun fact, they're designed upside down. This way gravity calculates the strongest angles. Since Hindu temples don't need a lot of space inside, they can be designed from the ground up, starting with the Naman. It's a fractal geometric procedure that can be used to calculate perfect east-west alignment. You can think of a Hindu temple more like a bridge between space and time. The alignment sets the frequency of the temple in time. That'll be important later. In space, Vastu Mandala sets the fractal pattern in space. Vedic architecture treats the temple as a literal being. It's a channel that entity can move through. In a way, it's like a computer chip that bridges the subatomic with the cosmic. The idea here is to translate frequency into form. That begins with the floor plan. That geometry is the same geometry used in fighter jet antennas. The top of the Hindu temple is called the Shikara. A phased array antenna scans in all directions. Warships use it, same geometry. And inside, you see the geometry of a beam-forming antenna that focuses. Previous video, I showed how the force of magnetism scales. It has a shape. The harmonic scale used in the design of Teotihuacan. Satellite temples are often found in that same shape. And if you know the geometry to smash particles together, then perhaps biology could take advantage of all of these wave-shaping geometries. By using a medium like water, you provide a scaffolding for that to be possible. By studying cymatics, we understand that every frequency has corresponding geometry. Structured water is what your body's made of. Organic chemistry depends on this water. My invisible thought can make me go to the gym and build a body, and could consciousness without a body translate itself into the material world? Light provides the information, 3D space provides the position, water then translates the flow into experience. Sanskrit texts that this is from are called the Agama Shistra. They explicitly say the temple's function is theophany, or the emergence of the divine into the world in a stable, localized form, which would make these the most advanced devices on Earth. This is temple science, and you can learn it if you want, because I teach it. Why? Our internal antennas are now in our external devices. That comes at a cost and dials in consciousness for profit and efficiency. Internal antenna is why we're alive. By reconnecting, we can create a beautiful experience for generations. If you're gonna...
That's insane, bro. Bro, what the fuck, dude? That's insane. What? Theophany. I never knew that. Did you guys know what theophany was? Let's just run that back. What did he say? What is it? Can you please explain to me what theophany is?
Sure thing. A theophany is basically an appearance of a deity in a way that people can see or physically perceive. It's different from experiences like inspiration or revelation because those might not be tangible or visible. The term comes from ancient Greek, meaning appearance of a god. In classical and modern usage, it's used across religious traditions to describe tangible manifestations of the divine.
I'm talking about using that phrase in the context of Hindu temples.
In Hindu contexts, theophany still refers to a visible manifestation of a deity, but it's often described through scriptural stories rather than everyday temple experiences.
Interesting. Let's keep going.
Start anywhere with temple mysteries. You have to start with India. India has the craziest architecture you will ever see. Half the stuff in the temples spin if they don't float. The pillars in these temples look exactly like a sound wave in 3D. That one's iron. It hasn't rusted in 2,300 years. They carved them into mountains and then out of mountains. You can't make a mistake. You have one shot at it. When they're done carving, they put the finest details head to toe in the entire temple. It's everywhere. You cannot get all the details even if you tried. Look at this. That's a mandala made out of a snake tail. It's all one tail. That elephant is not an elephant. It's made out of people. That stone is made out of one solid rock. It moves. It's a chain now. They put a rock ball of one stone inside a carving of a different type of stone. It's one piece. How'd they get the rock ball in there? They built pyramids like Egypt and...
Wait, what? Run that back again?
It's a chain now. They put a rock ball of one stone inside a carving of a different type of stone. It's one piece. How'd they get the rock ball in there? They built pyramids like Egypt and Mexico, and then they inverted it into the ground. Then when they got bored of that, they inverted one of their own temples and built that into the ground. Some of the features inside the temple look like modern technology today. Words cannot describe what I'm about
That's insane, bro.
to show you. This is a step well. It's in India. Some of them go even 13 stories into the ground. They're like inverted pyramids. If you're like me, I was like, cool, pretty well, whatever. But these are traditional ancient wells. Greece, ancient China, that's ancient Egypt. What makes somebody want to build this when they could easily do something like that? It's India. You know it's going to be wild. There's 3,000 of these. And the secret, as always, is in sound. So this is a Chladni plate. When you put sand on a metal plate and draw a bowstring across it, it makes geometry. This should look pretty familiar. That's because this is 3296 hertz. That stepwell is modeled off of this frequency. Obviously it's a square that's going to line up, but line up the corners to the node on that frequency. Then you have 4 nodes that correspond to the 4 stairs going down at the top level of the stepwell. You can follow this all the way down. Now, if you've read the Vedas, this is going to be no shock, but Hindu architecture, especially the pillars, are encoded with sound. That pillar in particular shows exactly how sound really moves through the air, and it's in octave ratios if you count the notches. Same frequency as the wheel of Dharma. Back to the stepwell. Invert it. Pyramid. That is the Pyramid of Djoser in Egypt. They were friends. They worked together. They shared architectural secrets. But look at that thing right there. This is a modern acoustic resonator. That piece regulates the source voltage going into a very small resonator that looks like a very large Tamil temple. Even the top of the temple, after the sound goes all the way to the top, is amplified by a Helmholtz resonator on the tips. India, easily the most advanced ancient culture. You cannot convince me otherwise. In the background of this video, there is something you gotta see. It's from Hampi, India. There are 52 of these pillars in this temple that are tuned to 7 notes. As he was playing, I saw one of the notes on the wall. Probably like, that's not a music note. No, it is a frequency, actually. One that we can see with cymatics. Hindu temples are kind of like a book. This pillar, for example, looks like a 3D sound wave. But you couldn't play that or that. It's just showing amplitude. To see the details, you have to look into the sound wave with cymatics. It forms what looks like a flower. Now you have the frequency the pillar resonates at. This is Baalbek in Lebanon. It's a piece of the ceiling. Purple cymatic is a 6-fold frequency. In the middle is the flower. The Corinthian order would put the flower on the top of the capital. In ancient Greece, they would put these on the top of the Ionic capitals. Hindu temples are head-to-toe detailed. Highly encourage you to check these out if you have not. The detail will make you question everything. It's like an instruction manual for the universe written in stone. It's truly amazing. Ancient India rewrites history yet again. 1,000-year-old caves have just been inspected by stonemasons and engineers, and what they found is going to freak you out. These are the Barabar caves. There's 5 of them. Carved into solid granite, the polish is so smooth, it's smoother than machine-polished marble and slightly less than industrial glass, and 20 times smoother than industrial granite. Professional stonemasons were interviewed about recreating this project and how difficult it would be out of 10, and those are their answers. Most said it was impossible. A company called AGP, started by a former stonemason, scanned him with one of these. It's a spinning laser that creates millions of data points that can reconstruct the caves from the inside out with no distortion. Here are the results. The caves have perfect symmetry in the floor, ceiling, and walls. The walls are angled by just a few degrees. Why? Polishing with the aid of gravity is more than doable. That's what we do. Polishing a vertical wall and a curved ceiling, on the other hand, is... The walls have a perfect angle within 0.1 degrees. You can't even tell with your eyes. Why was this necessary? The acoustics of these caves are also ridiculous. Granite barely absorbs acoustic waves, and the dome at Sudama resonates at 74.9 hertz. This renders speech unintelligible in the chamber. Reverb is the time it takes a sound to decay into nothing. 60 seconds is the max my production software will go. Inside Notre Dame, it'll reverb for about 10 seconds. Sudama is 62. Vapika is 70. When they were studying the acoustics, they discovered that the angled walls reduced the floating echo. The caves were rediscovered in 1785 by the colonizer dudes. No function of the caves has ever been discovered. The historical foundation is based on this crude hack job into the perfect walls. It says the absolutely perfect caves were used as a rain shelter. We can all agree that there was a lot of highly trained craftsmen that were needed to complete this. Yet we see nothing this precise anywhere else in India. How were they trained? How did
That's insane, bro.
they carve it with no electricity? Torches would suffocate workers if they didn't get silicosis. That's an incurable disease from inhaling rocks. Didn't seem like a concern. The only things we can compare it to are Nakshi Rostam, the Lycian rock tombs, Petra, and maybe a couple other sites like Kailasa. Kailasa was carved out of a single rock in traditional Indian style, decorated head to toe. This has no decoration and emphasizes the precision. The Rig Veda puts a heavy emphasis on sound. So what were they used for? The clues are in geometry. For more clues, check out the documentary this whole video is based on. It's on YouTube and narrated by the lovely Johanna James. This is a pretty normal looking temple until I show you what it's hiding. So this is the Keshva temple. It's a Indian temple in the Hoysala style. These are the famous temples that have the pillars that look like they were turned on a lathe or they were representing some sort of sound. But to see the wildest part of the whole temple, you have to look up. These are the famous Dhammakul ceilings that are made entirely out of stone. These are exquisite, some of the best stonework on the entire planet. But this guy here, you might be thinking that looks like a turbine. So did I. Especially because there's also pillars in this temple that look like turbine blades. This is where my man Niles comes in. Niles makes wave simulations of all kinds, from acoustic waves to what would happen if an asteroid hit the Atlantic Ocean. Amazing content. There's one, though, that makes a very interesting pattern. It is a water drop, but instead of just a flat plane of water, he introduced these little nodes that break up the wave and cause interference. I'm not sure where the design inspiration for the temple ceiling came from, but if it's not this, then I would be very surprised. Now hold on, this is indicating a function, not just a decoration. Look closer. Those points are how you introduce interference into the wave of the water drop. If you play that simulation backwards, that is the exact way a Fresnel antenna works. But I thought we were working with water. Look closer again. We have the infamous three-headed snake. The evidence for ancient technology is not going to be found near these temples. It's going to be the temple. This is Angkor Wat, and this is a CMOS sensor. Any digital camera will have one of these. That's Angkor Wat from above. What does a CMOS sensor do? It takes in light and converts that light to electrical signal. Why would ancients want to do that? To make that signal usable, we use something called a high-frequency oscillator. These create stable frequencies with no moving parts. They're used in everything. Should be no surprise at this point, the geometry of that oscillator is 4 resonators around one central resonator. Tesla uses these, which could be confused with ancient Peruvian architecture if you follow me. All resonators work by using cavities to excite and amplify a desired frequency in the center. Let's say we cut Angkor like that in half. I feel like it'd probably look a lot like that guy. Picked a great day to watch base for it. I'm full sending this one. You see that forested area conspicuously covered with trees? I scanned it with a laser on a drone to see what's underneath the trees. You know what they found?
What the hell is even that?
The acoustic waveguide for our oscillator happens to look just like that. If you watch the Prambanan video, you know that the interior of these temples looks just like a corrugated horn antenna. Those peaks are not decorative. They focus the signal as it exits the cone. This minimizes power loss and strengthens the signal. A phased array arrangement focuses the signal into the main horn. That is what the signal looks like, and that may be your design inspiration for a tower. Which makes sense. I'll say it. The largest Hindu temple in the world has a dormant...
Crazy, bro. All right, you guys. I love you. I didn't get a lot of sleep. I'm tired. I was up real late last night recording. I'm out of here for today. I'm gonna go chill, rest. My eyes hurt. I love you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow, probably like 8:30 Mountain Standard Time. 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're giving away some merch, bro. We're giving away some t-shirts. I hope to see you there. I love you guys. Nobody's told you today. I'm proud of you.